Hi everyone, welcome back to the Vinyl Vault. Hope you're good. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for everyone that's been subscribing to the channel. That's really good and appreciated. Thank you for all the thumbs up and thank you all for the nice comments and so on. Today I've just come back from picking up a small, what I would call funk, soul, jazz collection. Lots of records in here I don't know, some I do know, some I owned before in my original collection, and yeah, I'm quite excited to get a couple of them back that I used to own. Because that was the whole point of this channel. Originally I went out looking for records that I used to own, which were mainly hip hop, but there was some funk and dance and all that sort of stuff in there. And yeah, a couple of years ago I decided to go digging, but sort of record and document it on YouTube, and here I am. So first out of the box, something that I'm really pleased to have found. Oh, by the way, there is about 70 odd records. I think it's about 75-ish. I can't quite remember exactly. We had a rough count up about 75, so I gave £100 for this, so it's a bit over £1 a record, but it doesn't matter. Well, it's a bargain. I say it doesn't matter, it's a bargain as far as I'm concerned. Didn't check the condition on many of them. I pulled out a couple from the front because I like those records myself. But yeah, for £100, a good purchase. So this is Bob James 2, and to me there's a classic track on here called Take Me to the Mardi Gras, which is like something that was from the sort of hip-hop b-boy culture, classic sort of break as we would call it. This one is on CTI Records, gatefold sleeve, US copy. Just gonna be quiet while an aeroplane goes over. It's one of my private jets coming in. And yeah, so this is a classic album, and CTI label. I've had a look at the condition of this one when I picked it up, and it's not too bad, to be totally honest. Quite good condition. I mean, there are some marks on it, but yeah, I'm pleased with that. As I say, because it's got Take Me to the Mardi Gras on it, which is a track that I really like. So yeah, pleased with that. Unfortunately, it's got a bit of a seam slit there at the bottom, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, pleased to get this. So it's Bob James 2. Another classic sort of track, break, tune from the early hip hop period, when DJs were mixing breaks and cutting up stuff. There's Jimmy Castor Bunch. This has got on it It's Just Begun, which is a legendary, as I say, a legendary tune. Didn't have this in my original collection, so I'm pleased to pick this up. It's a bit beaten up, if I'm honest. Well, the cover is anyway, and there's some writing on the label, but the vinyl is quite glossy, as you can see. Does have a few marks, but well pleased with that. This is on this is interesting, this is on what they call the Dynaflex vinyl, which is flimsy thin. And there's probably other great tunes, not only on this, but on this Bob James 2. I mean, there's probably other really good tunes, but Take Me to the Mardi Gras on that one for me, and It's Just Begun on this one, which is the name of this album. Bob James was probably a bit easier to find. I don't see this. I've never owned that, so well chuffed to get that. We've got Ronnie Laws, Pressure Sensitive. Didn't own this one either back in the day. This has got a lot of scribble on it, unfortunately. But this has got a tune I absolutely love, Tidal Wave. Absolutely love that. That is a banging tune. And this is on Blue Note. Now this is unfortunately pretty badly smashed up, which is a shame. However, it might play. I hope it does, because I can't wait to put Tidal Wave on the turntable. Absolutely love that tune. Okay, Bob James again, All Around the Town. This is also a gatefold. Bob James did some great tunes. Not sure what's on here. All Around the Town, Touchdown. Oh, again, look at that, look. Winchester Lady, absolutely one of my favourites. So well pleased. Winchester Lady, great tune, just banging tune. Bob James. Dexter Wansel, I know he'd done some good stuff, didn't have any of his LPs. I believe he did an album called Life on Mars, which again probably cut up and sampled by the hip hop world. This is What the World Is Coming To. Bit of ring wear on this. Philadelphia International Records, 1977. No inner sleeve on this one. Again, pretty worn, pretty you know, well played. Marks, dirt, grime. That needs looking at. The classic, if you can see it, the classic coffee cup stain. As I said on a number of my videos, people used to just put their cups down on their records. I think it's not everyone did it, but you know, a lot of records were bought back in the day and they were just treated as, I don't know, just something in your daily life that you didn't really necessarily treasure, but then some people were really particular and kept their records in amazing condition. So you find all sorts. This is Ronnie Laws. This is called Friends and Strangers. Interesting cover. I haven't owned this one before. Again, United Artists, 1977. Plain inner. This has probably been sampled by many. You find many of these soul, funk, jazz, fusion LPs were sampled to create some of the most famous hip hop tracks that we may have grown up listening to. Bob James again. This one was originally bought from HMV for £6.99. This is called Heads. This one's a bit dusty, not sure if you can pick it up on the camera. So again, as you know, if you watch my channel, the records I buy are not from shops, very rarely from shops, very rarely now from record fairs. Back in the day I used to visit all the record fairs, all the shops, even when digging in the States a few times before I sold my own personal collection. But yeah, anyway, Bob James, Gatefold. Did actually go to Utrecht record fair once as well, which was quite interesting. Okay, this is on Tapanzi label. Quite clean, bit dusty and dirty, but that's not a complaint from me, that's just an observation, just feeding back to you guys what I'm picking up. Some people have said when I mention the dust and dirt I'm complaining. No, I'm not complaining. I'm just showing you records that I picked up for the first time. I haven't sifted through them. I might have just quickly had a glance, look through. Most of them I didn't even check the conditions. So if I'm talking about dust and dirt, I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing out to you the state that they're in. James Brown Show. This is recorded live at the Apollo Theatre, New York City on Polydor. What's on here? Please, please, please. Night Train. I think Public Enemy did a track called Night Train, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was the sample for that. Okay, conditions not amazing, but then what do you expect from old records that have been through a hard life? It would be absolutely awesome to find a audiophile quality type collection, you know, records that were absolutely kept pristine and treated with care. That is a dream, to find those sort of collections, but they don't come up very often. Not in the environment I'm looking anyway. Isaac Hayes Movement, gatefold sleeve, Stax label. What's on here? Do I know any of these? I probably know some of the tracks, but not by name. Classic yellow Stax label. Condition of vinyl's not too bad. Not too bad. I see a bit of Q burn on it. So far some nice titles, and I'm really looking forward to playing these, because I probably lean to this genre more than I do the the sort of rock and hard rock stuff. I mean, I'm coming to like all of that, but my natural instinct is to lean to this sort of stuff. Herbie Hancock, Sunlight. Again, I will probably recognise the tunes on here, but I wouldn't necessarily know the name. I mean, that is an awesome synth set there. Look at that. So I'd nearly say he was ahead of his time with all this synth equipment there. Correct Inner. CBS label. This one's actually in quite nice condition. Quite clean. So yeah, these records, I don't know, what do they work out about? I don't know, maybe £1.50 each or something like that. Okay, James Brown. Did have a couple of James Brown albums back in the day, but I didn't have this one. Today, Disco, Soul, Dance, Dance, Dance. Yeah, I think there's some classics there, but again, some of the James Brown stuff, when you read the titles, they all sound a bit similar. But James Brown and the JVs, create some incredible music. Polydor label, not too bad. Vinyl, that one, that's actually quite clean. Yeah, that sound of JB's and the James Brown sound, that funk, that sad, real dynamic feel, funk soul. Yeah, just really soulful music. Bootsy's Rubber Band. This has got a cut corner. This boot is made for funking. I was looking for a year, but I don't know. Yeah, can't see the year on it. It's got a funky. Oh, it's not in its sleeve. Put that record down there, it's a bit grubby. That's the inner sleeve. That's interesting, isn't it? Give you a closer look at that. That's an interesting sleeve. Sleeve says 1979, but it's got seam splits. Right, this is really grubby. This is really grubby. You're going to probably pick this up on the camera. Oh yes, really mucky. See if I can show you. Can you see it? I think you probably can. Try and get it in focus. Yeah, but you get the gist of it. Bootsy's Rubber Band. Okay, Isaac Hayes again, live at the Sahara Tahoe. Is that how you pronounce that? Gatefold sleeve. Theme from Shaft, absolutely classic tune, love that. I'm looking for a track called Ike's Mood. There was another classic b-boy hip-hop break that was sampled many times called Ike's Mood, I believe it was called. Don't think it's on this one. This is on the Stax label. Vinyl's not too bad. I'm not sure how many sort of funk, soul, jazz, fusion people follow my channel, yeah, let me know if any of you are into these artists. I'm sure some of you are. Okay, don't know much about this guy. Stanley Clarke, School Days. I've heard of him. Didn't have any of his records originally. This one hasn't got its inner sleeve, and this is filthy. This is on the Epic label. This is really filthy. Needs a clean, but that's not a complaint. That is not a complaint. That's an observation. Just setting the record straight, so those people say, "Oh, stop moaning about the condition." I'm not moaning. Just letting you know what it's like when I find these things. Right, Isaac Hayes, Joy. So whoever owned this collection was a soulful person, I would say. This one hasn't been out for ages. It is stuck in a static sleeve, Stax label. Some of these are not abused. They've got a lot of finger marks on, but some of these are not used and abused. What's on this one? Don't know any of the tracks on that one. Not that I know of. Blackbirds. Again, I don't know if it's on here. They did a classic track called Rock Creek Park, one of my favourites. probably way before this. Yeah, it's not on here. 1980 Fantasy Records, produced by George Duke, a name that I've seen on a lot of records. Lyric Inner, pictures of the band, classic fantasy label. Again, not too bad, needs a clean. Really looking forward to listening to some of these. Plain white inner, CBS label. Yeah, this has got some heavy marks on it, lots of finger marks, some heavy marks. Let me just get the heavy marks into shot so you can see what I get when I spend my money. That one there, quite heavy. So yeah, if you're watching my channel for the first time, I pretty much started off buying records from boot sales, and then I've started to sort of reach out to some sort of house clearance guys, building up the rapport, contacts and that, and I've got a number of those guys on board now, some very nice guys actually, and I'm buying records from those sort of guys when they clear houses and flats and so on, and yeah, I sort of take the rough with the smooth. Sometimes I get some real rubbish and sometimes I get some interesting stuff, and to be fair, I think they're fairly genuine, these guys, different guys from slightly different areas, but I've got a number of them on board. This is Norman Connors, and it's actually called You Are My Starship. It's got an RCA distributed sticker down here, cut out in this corner. Buddha Records. This would be a US press, slight seam split, classic Buddha label. And again, I wouldn't be surprised. I probably know some of the tracks off this, but I would not by name, but probably I'm sure I would have heard of them. Okay, this one's Rhythm Heritage, Sky's the Limit. Now again, I didn't have this, but I think it's got a theme from Starsky and Hutch and Sky's the Limit. Again, I think this was probably sampled by the hip hop community back in the day. I've got a feeling it was. This one's pretty beat up, glue's coming off. It's very small cut corner. This is ABC Records, not in the best condition. I'll try and show you some of the marks on it. You can probably see it if I get it. Do my best to get it in focus. If I was a millionaire, I would love to buy, and I probably would love to go and buy absolute mint copies of all these records, but that is not the case. And as it stands, I like picking up cheap copies, and I'll accept if they're not perfect at this stage. The day I make my money, I will go and find myself and source mint copies. This is Grover Washington Jr. Skylarking. Again, done a great tune called Mr. Magic from memory, and I don't think it's on here, but again, this has probably been sampled over the years. Motown label. I hope I've got that right. I think it was Mr. Magic by Grover Washington Jr. If it's not, forgive me, but Mr. Magic was a wicked tune, love that. This is Blue Haze by Isaac Hayes, Atlantic. Oh, didn't expect that. Did not expect that. Now, as I've been learning about sort of rock and progressive rock and stuff, I've come to realise, or come to learn, that these Orange and Plum Atlantics were like a sort of original pressings for a lot of early classic records that people are after, and I did not know this was on this label. So that's a nice surprise. So that says 1967. So that may well be. That way, it may well be a first press, although that cover looked like I don't know, it didn't look that old to me. But it's called oh, hang on a minute. I'm not sure that's right. No. Okay, that would explain it. that isn't the right record. I was going to say that looks more modern, that sleeve. So this is called Blue Haze, Isaac Hayes, but this actually says presenting Isaac Hayes 1967. So that is obviously not the right record in there. Maybe they're in here and they got mixed up. I shall look at that later. Homecoming, Dexter Gordon, live at the Village Vanguard. This one's got sellotape on it and so on. Yeah, it's been well sellotaped. CBS label. Condition's not too bad. Actually, when I pull these records out and I show you on camera, I've got to be honest, I'm not necessarily looking close up at the labels. I may well miss some other records that are in the wrong sleeves. That is a double album. I'm not going to pull out the other one. I have a glance, I'll just carry on talking. I don't necessarily read every last detail on there. Prelude, Diodata, I don't even know how you pronounce that. Diodato, something like that. Gatefold sleeve. Again, CTI label, same as Bob James, so this could be good. So let me know if you're into any of these groups. Can I get that one away? Then we have, this is Oscar Peterson Volume 2, Girl Talk. Polydor, this looks old. Very heavy. Polydor, I won't pull that one out because it's got one of those funny things, I'll never get it back in. Poly-lined things that would just get all in a mess. Exclusively for my friends, Girl Talk. Yeah, that is the correct record. Mezza Forte, this was bought in HMV for £5.29. Surprise, surprise. 1982. Cover's a little bit worn. Looks like an independent label. It's Mezza Forte. Nagy. Now I know this guy from my early days of being into electro music. I think it would have been 1984. There was a track called Breaking in Space, which was, what label was it? On Radar Records. And Nagy from memory played a saxophone on that, and yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's him. And it's got a paper in it, but it's not in it. It's missed the inner. Right, this has got a lot of wear and tear on it, and it's got what looks like a big scuff or paint mark, or it's been dropped, something pretty heavy there, so that's going to need looking at with regard to cleaning. Bear with me. Just got to stand up side of some of those records. Right, Yusuf Lateef, yeah, Into Something. This looks wicked. The cover looks wicked. I don't know if it is. Into Something. Prestige label. Sonny Rollins, Dancing in the Dark, on the Milestone label. Ronnie Laws, Every Generation. United Artists. And we've got some more to go. Maybe if you want to pause it and get a cup of tea. Right, what's this? This is Zagada and Fans. This looks like it's that's quite interesting. Don't know this. It looks like a bit of could be, don't know, not sure where that's from. Allegro label, the Golden Hits of Soul, that's not right. Not sure that's even the right record. Golden Hits of Soul, the Night Train and the Mark 7 brass and saxes. I don't think that's anything to do with that. And it's well wrecked anyway. But that's nothing to do with it. Right. Bill... somebody or other. Gentle Memories. Bill Gentles. Picks his hits. That's an unusual looking record. Again, looks like a private press. Oh, this could be reggae or Jamaican or something. It looks like a sort of reggae label. Don't know that one. What else have we got? Muddy Waters, Hard Again. Looks a bit jazzy. Whoa! What is that? Is that? That is a scratch. Check that out down there. Look at that. That's the old Mullard edition. This side's not too bad, but look at that. That is pretty nasty. Not sure that one will come out. Interesting. I guess records got dropped from time to time. Stanley Turrentine, Tender Togetherness. You can't see it, but my fingers are like really dusty and dirty. These have been sitting around for a long time. Whoa. JB owned that one, whoever JB was. Loads of marks on it. And he decided he was going to put his name on the label. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. I'll let you pronounce that one, I'll try to. This looks like it might be reggae. No idea what this is. Probably a reggae album of some sorts. Again, this got, I noticed that last one had a red sticker on it, so is this. So this is probably reggae, or it looks African or something like that. Don't know it. I'll give it a listen. Again, another one which looks like it's in that sort of genre, maybe African or reggae or something. Again, with a red dot on it, so don't know what that meant. This one's actually a 12-inch. Sunburn label. Average white band. Feel no feet, is it? Feel no fret. Feel no fret. Cut out. This looks to be a gatefold. Correct inner. New York City, I'm doing fine now. Looks like a sort of old funk group or something like that, 1973. Oh, that's an interesting looking label, never seen that label before, Chelsea. So look at the vinyl on this one. Not too bad. Then we've got Buddy Miles, don't know that one. Casablanca label. Might speed up a bit so you're not here wasting your time for hours and hours and hours. Don Downing, Dr. Boogie. Again, don't know that one, but it looks interesting. A lot of these are US imports. I can feel by the thick carded sleeve and so on, and the types of label. Graham Central Station. Again, looks like it's a cutout. Yeah, the sleeve's got the cutout. Warner Brothers label. So the condition on these ones isn't too bad. Some of them have got marks on them, but looks like they might have just been dropped or accidental damage. This one looks interesting. This is the first time we met the Independents. That's a hype sticker. It says he includes a hit Leaving Me. Again, this is a US pressing. Wand label. Don't think I've ever seen that label before. Dexter Gordon Quartet. Motown. What? Oh, sorry, not Motown. CBS. Don't know where I got Motown from. CBS. Jimmy Smith. A Walk on the Wild Side. This is a gatefold. Metro Records. We pull one out at a glance. Again, not sure that I've seen that label before. Metro. Vinyl's quite good. More of a flimsier type vinyl. Hank Crawford. I Hear a Symphony. Oh, that's not in its inner sleeve, and that is pretty beat up. Not the worst condition record I've ever seen, but pretty beat up. Kudu label. Wayne Henderson, emphasised. That looks more 80s. Seems to be in shrink wrap. 1979. It's got the specially imported sticker on it. Polydor. George Duke, I mentioned him earlier. Master of the Game. Nice price from CBS. Hype sticker. These are really dusty. I can feel the dust. What looks like the correct inner. Come out. Got a static on this one. It could be mint. It's pretty good condition. Epic label. I think I got good value for my money, if you ask me. And a lot of these records, whether you like them or not, they're not the sort of thing are going to be in HMV. I wouldn't thought you'd go down there and find half of these records being reissued. So if you was looking for it, you're going to need to find an original, or maybe a repress from the 80s or something. So they probably wouldn't go to the trouble of repressing all these. Maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me. Voyeur, David Sanborn. Fancy Warner Brothers Polyina. Down there. Okay. Kenny G and G-Force. This is called Gravity. So this is like a nice little instant soul funk sort of collection. It's nice when you pick up sort of what I would say sort of whole collections and not, you know, in the same sort of genre. Just sort of makes life easy, especially if you're into that particular type of music. The band AKA. Some of these I will cherish more than others because some of these mean a lot to me with regards to the tunes that I grew up with, and then some are going to be listened to, and maybe I'll get into things I didn't know about. John Clemmer Finesse, whoever that is. Gerald Albright. Virgin, £6, what's that, 99? Atlantic label. What I might do eventually is, this is Tom Scott. Intimate Strangers, nice price sticker, and I think this is probably the same Tom Scott that did, is the track called Today? Pete Rock and CL Smooth sampled it. Absolutely amazing track by Tom Scott. I think it's called Today, I could be so wrong. Now I haven't seen one of these for years and years and years. This is a nice clean copy. Now, back in the day when I had my own collection, I used to see a lot of funk album stuff with this ring on it. And now I can only imagine that ring was, that sort of sticker ring, whatever that is, was put on to hide incorrect credits maybe on the label, or distribution details or something. And I haven't seen one of those for a long time. But you used to see those on a fair amount of records, and that might not be the reason they're there, but you can tell me if you know. Gap Minogue. Sorry, I might have got sidetracked. I was starting to say that eventually, with my doubles or records that once I've listened to them I really don't like, not because they're bad, it's just not my taste, eventually I might trade those for things that I do like. I say trade, I'm not really into selling records, but maybe one day I'll do something like that. Oh sorry, I'm waffling away to myself. Wilton Felder, MCA Records. Yeah, there are lots of records that I would love to own, and my first choice would be buying classic hip hop back that I used to own. Unfortunately, it doesn't come out at boot sales, and it doesn't really come out at house clearance. Sadao Watanabe. Looks like jazz, something like that. Right, who we got here? Wilbert Longmire. This is a gatefold. So most of this I don't know. CBS to Pansy label. And I'm not sure if my current audience are into this sort of thing, because the majority of the records I find are sort of rock and pop, so obviously the channel tends to attract those sort of the people that are into that genre of music. This is Dick Morrissey After Dark, but yeah, it's an unusual looking label. Looks a bit like a private press. Not sure what that is. Jim Mullen. Sorry, I'm not even showing the camera, am I? I'm just into it. Jim Mullen. Yeah, so I haven't really looked at these records, so when I pull them out of the box I'm quite excited to read all about it. Quite dusty, that one. Yeah, I haven't really studied these, you know. Picked them up and just, this is on Coda as well, and just bring it back, shove on the camera, share with you my finds. It is just comes out as it comes out. I pick it up, I bring it, show you. There's no real strategic plan on what to show you, it's just as I get it really. This is George Howard. Again, unusual label. This one's really dusty. Don't know if you can pick it up. Fuse 1, Stanley Clarke, Larry Correll, many other people. Again, looks like a US pressing, heavy vinyl, thick carded sleeve. Generally, I don't know if you guys know, let me know. Would you say the UK pressings from back, I don't know, 60s, 70s, 80s, were they generally better than the US pressings, or is it just down to individual labels? Wilton Felder, I think I had something by him already. MCA. I've also said this on a number of videos, I am struggling to find time to play a lot of the records that I'm picking up, but I have got my retirement to look forward to, so that'll be when I really go through the collection that I've built and listen to most of it. Ireland label, quite a clean tune, quite a clean vinyl record on that one. That's one of those ones that's got that sort of tight shrink wrap, so the record, the sleeve starts bowing a bit, which is a bit of a shame. Maybe best to rip that off, let me know. Earl Clough, is that? Earl Clough? I think that's Clough. Yeah, it looks like it. 1983. Low ride, pretty marked up vinyl, gonna need a clean. Oh, that's interesting. That side hasn't got anything on the label. It's capital that side, that's got to be a misprint. That's got to be a misprint. So that's got to be investigated. Hopefully that'll make that £1 million. Be nice to find a really rare record, wouldn't it? Something high value. Maybe that'd mean I wouldn't have to go work anymore. Hank Jones, Tiptoe Tap Dance. Looks like a US pressing, and it's quite clean, but it's got a stamp on it which is like that Italian import stamp thing. So I think that's it. I think it's a US press. No, it doesn't. It says down here printed and made in Italy. So that'll be unusual. Hank Jones. Get Up and Boogie, Silver Convention. Magnet label. Keith Jarreau, is that, how do you pronounce that? Jarrett. Seam split there. Or yeah, seam split or no glue. ECM label. I have seen this label a bit over the years. I think it's a sort of jazz label. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a heavy mark there. Look forward to listening to that though. Tom Brown, Tommy Gunn. I think this is the Tom Brown that done Funkin' for Jamaica. Although it's not on here, but that Funkin' for Jamaica is an absolute tune, one of my favourites. Then we have, this one's in shrink wrap, this is Azimuth. Telecommunication in shrink wrap. Got some finger marks and so on this one. Again, don't know that one. Looking forward to playing that one day. Wayne Shorter, is that? CBS. David Sanborn, I think we had something by him earlier. Heart to Heart. Again, David Sanborn. Looks like that was bought from Virgin Records at some point, but the sticker's ripped. And the last one for today, David Sanborn, Super Saver, £6.99. This looks to be US, thick carded sleeve, and this has got loads of muck on it. It's falling off, looks sort of like paint and leaves. So yeah, that's the last one for today. So fairly nice collection for a fairly good price. Well, very good price, I think. So pleased with that. And yeah, not much more to say apart from thanks for tuning in. See you soon. Okay, I'm back quickly. There was a few of the records from that collection that were on the floor that I didn't pick up and put in a box to show you. This one's Stanley Turrentine, or Turrentine, something like that. The Man with a Sad Face. This one looks really interesting. Looks like a bit of a green man on the cover. Cut out corner again, US, fantasy label. That's in quite nice condition. Yeah, so I don't, maybe there's a bit more than 75. I counted the records. Did I say 75 when I started the video? And maybe a few more. Big John Patton. This looks like a jazz album. Oh, this is on Blue Note. Oh, would I love to have some early Blue Note jazz. Some of that early Blue Note stuff sounds so amazing. Unfortunately I don't own any of that. That would be something that if I ever go back to the States digging, I'd look for that. Early jazz stuff, that would be amazing. I don't really know the tracks, but when I've played them, some of them are just absolutely amazing. Heart to Heart. This is reggae on it. Justice label. That's obviously a reggae LP. King Curtis. That's all right. So yeah, just a couple more. These are the few that I forgot originally. Crusaders, Good and Bad Times. Cut out again, US, MCA label. Jazz Samba, Stan Getz. It says Verve in Verve label. Jazz Samba, looks to be right. Very last one. Alright, I don't think I've missed any this time. I'll have a check, but I think this is it. So that is it. That is it. If I find any more, I'll have to add to the video. But see you soon. Bye.